Hey, welcome back, tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather stretching out through into April in today's video. We're also going to have a look at the central temperature for March. April is proving a very difficult month to pin down, and next week I'm going to have to come up with next week, whichever time your week starts, I'm going to have to come up with a forecast for April. I say it's proving a difficult month to pin down because a lot of the longer range modelling is sort of indicating and it could be a colder month, certainly compared to what we've been used to over the last few months. But in the short range generic charts like GFS, GCMT, there's not a great deal of sign, of anything cold coming up. Really, it looks like it's quite mild, so it is proving quite a difficult one to pin down. I'll show you the charts on that in a moment. So have a look at the central temperature for March as well. It's been another very mild month. Before I get on with the video, I'm going to mention the advertising. There's video ads on my pages at gazweathervids.com. You press play on the video ad, you'll be supporting gazweathervids.com. Thanks so much for doing that. We've also got prize draw. It ends today. It's actually going to end at 5 o'clock this evening. So if you haven't entered the prize draw to win this lovely rain gauge worth £24.95 supplied by our friends at MetCheck Weather Instrumentation, and thanks very much to them for supplying the rain gauge. If you haven't entered yet, you've got to have to get your skates on because 5 o'clock will be the cut-off point when I won't be able to take any more entries. And then what's going to happen is that I'm going to put all the entries into a bag. We'll draw one name out at random in a video, which you can see here on the competitions page at 7 o'clock this evening. And that person that's drawn out will win this rain gauge. So somebody, by the end of the day, is going to be the proud owner of a rain gauge worth £24.95. If you haven't entered yet, you've still got time until 5 o'clock this evening, and that's the point when we won't be able to take any more entries. Thanks so much to everybody that has entered the rain gauge prize draw. Okay, let's take a look at the central England temperature for March, and this is it from Hadley, the mean central England temperature, showing that we're currently at, provisionally anyway, it's probably going to be corrected downwards a little bit, but we're currently provisionally at 7.4, which is an anomaly of 1.8 degrees above average. There it is, just there. That's provisional to the 29th of March. Now, once we get to the end of the month, that may be corrected down a little bit, but we've got a couple of warm days coming up, so even if it is corrected downwards, that's probably going to be about where we end up, actually, somewhere around 7.4, 7.5, which take into account that it's going to tick up a few tenths of a degree over the next couple of days with the warmth that we've got. So somewhere in the mid-sevens, and normally close to 2 degrees above average. That's going to be around where we finish up. Of course, it's been a very warm start to the year. February coming out at 6.2 and normally 2.4 degrees above average. January coming out at 5.7 and an anomaly of 1.9 degrees above average. So generally we're running around 2 degrees above the long-term average so far for 2014. Very warm start to the year. And of course that's in complete contrast with what happened last year, because last year we had a very cold start to the year. This is the list of central England temperatures indexed by month going right the way back to 1659, and I should say you can get the links to these pages on my links page. So for 2013, very cold start to the year, 3.5 for January, 3.2 for February, and then that exceptionally cold March, 2.7. Probably the coldest since 1962 UK-wide, but for Central England, the coldest since about 1883. So we've totally swung the other way in 2014 compared to what happened in 2013. The question is, how long can these warm anomalies keep going on for? Because we had a very mild December as well in 2013. We ended 2013 on a mild night. December on a very mild note. December coming out at 6.3 there. So we've had a long run now of very mild months. Assays generally running around 2 degrees above the long-term average. Have to question how much longer this can go on for. In 2013, we went up to June getting below average months, and then we swung above average through the remainder of the year. It couldn't go on any longer. just makes you wonder if something similar is going to happen this year, but the reverse. Perhaps we'll have another couple of months of very mild anomalies, and then we'll start to swing back the other way, perhaps through the summer. And if we do start to swing the other way through the summer, it won't be a particularly inspiring summer. By the way, if you want to know what the warmest March on record is, we're a long way short of it. It actually is 1957, which came out with an anomaly, sorry, not an anomaly, a central temperature of 9.2 degrees, way above where we're at the moment. We've had a pretty mild March this year, but nothing like that. And that was a very mild start to the year as well, by the way, 1957, because January comes out at 5.5, February 5.3, well above average of the second half of the year in 1957 did turn quite a bit cooler from around May onwards. The anomalies did start dropping back. Anyway, that's March done and dealt with. It is going to be a very mild month, whatever happens. It's not going to be anywhere near the mildest on record in 1957, though. So let's have a look at April, see what the Beijing Climate Centre is showing for April. These are 500 millibar height anomalies broken down into 10-day periods. This first 10-day period is taking us through to the 14th of April. So we'll be running from around the 5th of April to the 14th of April with this anomaly. And we can see that the model is going for blocking up over Greenland. Not desperately extensive blocking, but we've definitely got some sort of high pressure up there. And then we've got a trough of low pressure sitting underneath it around the British Isles. So on the face of it, that's a pretty cool and pretty unsettled looking anomaly for the first sort of 10 days of April, certainly from the 5th to the 14th of April anyway. And this is in line with a lot of the longer range modelling that we've been seeing, which is sort of indicating that we're going to have quite a coolish month. May see the first coolish month, so cooler than average month of 2014, if these longer range models are right. This is the next anomaly, which takes us from the 15th to the 24th of April. Again, 500 millibar heights, with the same idea. We've got the blue colours centred over the country, which is a trough of low pressure. The blocking is easing off over Greenland a little bit, but still the same idea, really, I think, with higher than average heights up to the north and stretched out through the Atlantic, some sort of mid-Atlantic ridge. And then the trough of low pressure over country, also build an area of above average heights up over Scandinavia. But again, on the face of it, that's quite a cool and unsettled looking pattern for that middle period of April, the 15th to the 24th. So the actual temperature anomaly for the month, which takes us through to the 24th of April, shows that the model from the Beijing Climate Centre is going for a colder than average month. There we are, just there, right on the right hand side of the chart as you're looking at it. We're following the blue colours there, so that's anomalies coming out anything from 1 to 2 degrees below average. Quite a substantially cooler than average month being indicated by the Beijing Climate Centre model. And in terms of the precipitation, it's going for a wetter than average month in the south. Again, this takes us to the 24th of April, and a drier than average month up in the north. So you have to say that the Beijing Climate Centre, anyway, is sort of pretty strong in going for quite a cool and unsettled sort of month with a lot of northern blocking influences, and yet there's no real sign of it on the generic shorter range charts. This is the GFS temperature precipitation ensemble. I show you these a lot in my weekly videos. The red line here is the temperature in the upper atmosphere where it should be at this time of the year. And this takes us right through towards the end of, towards the middle of April, actually, end of the second week, somewhere around the 15th, which is just here, right at the very end of the chart. You see that generally, well, most of the lines are above average, and they stay above average well into April. As we get through to around the 10th, 11th of April, which is just here, we are seeing quite a bit of scatter there. There are some colder members. That's towards the end of the chart, and of course you always get scatter towards the end of the chart, or very often you get scatter towards the end of the chart. But you wouldn't look at that chart and really want to pin any colours on a colder than average month. Certainly the first half of the month. Anyway, you wouldn't be able to look at that and say it's likely to be cooler than average. So quite what's going on for April. It is very difficult to pin it down, because the Beijing Climate Centre is not alone in sort of suggesting that it could be a colder than average month, it could be a cooler than average month. But whilst that's the way that the longer range charts are going, the shorter range modelling is not really showing it yet. There's no real sign of it. Certainly the first week of April I think is going to be quite warm, and beyond that there's no great sort of indication that things are going to change dramatically in the second week of the month. So quite what this divergence between the general charts that we use every day and the seasonal modelling, quite where this divergence is going is very hard to pin down. And it just goes to show you that despite all of these models, we still don't have the answers. We don't always know what's going to happen, and April is one of those months, it's proving to be one of those months that's very, very difficult. I'm going to have to come up with an April forecast in the end, in the coming week. Quite what it's going to be, I'm still not entirely certain. But I thought it'd be interesting for you to see this anyway, that sometimes, as forecasters, we just have to put our hands up and really say, I don't know what's going on with the weather. And we don't have all the answers. The weather will always throw things at us, and that's just the nature of what we're dealing with, really, that sometimes the weather will confuse us, it'll confound us, and I suppose that's why we love it as people who follow the weather. We love the weather because we are always constantly being surprised by it. That's it for now. Hope you found the video interesting. It's going to be the competition winner tonight on the competitions page, so come back around 7 o'clock for that. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.